Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one. Welcome back to World of Tanks with the Mighty Jingles. We've got a tier 10 standard battle for you today here on the Pilsen map. Starring... how the hell do you pronounce... it's Dave again. Yes, Dave in a very, very unusual tank, the M60. Well, it's not unusual, it's fairly standard tank design, it's just you don't see an awful lot of them. Originally, the only way to get this tank was to finish in the top 30 in the very first Clan Wars tournament, but since then, I think it's available for 15,000 bonds in the bond shop. Still, not a common tank. It is pretty good though, although not without some weaknesses. As you can see, the mobility is absolutely fantastic, and the gun is excellent. 268mm of penetration, 390 average damage, something like a 7 or 8 second reload. 1.6 second aiming time. Yeah, if there's anything with a faster aiming time than that in the game at tier 10, then let me know, because I don't know what it is. Okay, maybe the S-Tank, but only when it presses its funny button and goes into siege mode. All of this with 9 degrees of gun depression. The gun is amazing, and the view range is basically best in class, 420 meters. Now that phenomenally good view range, coupled with the excellent mobility, might fool you into thinking that you can use this thing as a scout. Well, technically you can, but you must stay in concealment, because the M60 has an atrociously bad camo rating. And by medium tank standards, it's really big and tall. And while it does have a reasonably good turret front, it's rendered almost completely useless by that tumorous machine gun cupola on the top. Which means that you can't really use this thing in a hold down position, or work a ridgeline and take advantage of that 9 degrees of gun depression. There's his first kill. Actually, that's the first blood award. Well, not first blood, this isn't World of Warships, you get the idea. You can't really work a ridgeline and take advantage of that gun depression and your reasonably good turret fronts, because they'll just snipe that commander's cupola on top of the hull. And you require some really good concealment in order to keep this thing hidden and try to use it as a scout. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend trying unless you really know what you're doing, because the only good armour on this thing is the turret front. And while it did receive a patch shortly after the machine was introduced, it's still not that good, and it doesn't matter anyway because that cupola on top and the hull armour everywhere is bad. The gun is amazing though. I mean, it's basically a laser. He got himself spotted there. And speaking of tanks with good guns, E50M... I mean, the gun on the E50M is very similar to this thing. It will hurt you if you give it the opportunity. Now, he's not completely alone over here, at least not anymore. There's a Chinese 121B turning up, and that's a decent medium tank as well. Unfortunately, the 121's just, well, sitting there around the corner. He's not willing to take the risk of crossing this open ground and John Dave over here. Although I suppose he could be the one spotting the... Why? What's going on here? I'm sitting here singing the virtues of the M60's amazing 105mm gun, and he's just not doing any damage to the WZ-111G fake tank. He even switched to APCR. There we go. As I thought initially, I mean, if he'd been using the heat, I could understand shots hitting the tracks and failing to do any damage, but he was using APCR. Highly irregular. I'm fairly sure that last shot was a hit. Yep, a couple more of those, or maybe just the one more now. Got him. Having a look to see whether or not the 121B has found his man pants, and it doesn't look like he has. And as well as the E50M who's still over there, there's also an Object 430U. 121B shooting at something. Dave doesn't have an opportunity to take a shot just yet. It looks like he wants to get out of here. Although he's having second thoughts. Maybe if the 121B would just leave that corner and follow him down here in the low ground, they could move up from bush to bush and maybe get the drop on the E50M and the 430. But he looks like he's quite content to just sit there. To be fair to the 121B at the moment, there's no real need for him to move. I mean, they've got a 6 to... Oh, he is moving. But they do have a... Okay, it was a 6 to 3 kill advantage over the enemy team and a substantial hit point lead. and then they just lost the tank. But they're moving up now. But, you know, as long as... Oh, there's the GSOR. Oh. How the hell did that not kill him? Okay. Well, that one did. Yeah. You know, when you've got the advantage, the trick is knowing when to push it. E50M is a tough target. I mean, it's really well armoured as medium tanks go. And he's not showing an awful lot of tank to shoot at. There he is. Yeah, and yeah, he saw you too. It's substantially easier for the E50M to hurt you than it is for you to hurt the E50M. I mean, the E50M isn't a heavy tank, but it is a very well armoured medium. Yeah, the 121B has decided he's going to cool his heels back there. They're down to a 1-kill lead. And the reported hit point difference between the two teams has dropped from a 6,000 hit point advantage to barely 2,000. And, well, 121B is going to have to fight now whether he likes it or not. Although, I have to admit, don't get me wrong, the Centurion Action 10 is a good tank, but I wouldn't willingly get myself involved into a fight with these kind of odds. It's difficult to see how the Centurion could possibly have made that work in his favour. Okay, they were spotted by artillery. Well, they were spotted by the Centurion and then shot at and hit by the artillery. And they do still have the kill advantage, but every time they kill an enemy tank, the enemy team just kills one of theirs right back. 121's moving up, very wisely sticking to the bushes, because there is still an Object 430U and an E50M unaccounted for. And the further north they advance up this flank, they're potentially exposing themselves to fire from an enemy convoy who's dug in around here somewhere. E50M gets spotted, 121 scores a good hit, E50M returns fire, 121's undamaged. Well, he's not undamaged, but he didn't take a hit from the E50M firing there. You've got a couple of seconds now to make this good before he reloads. And I think you might have already, yep, outstayed your welcome, but you actually managed to take that one on the turret front. Now, who's got the faster reload? I think that was about even, actually. You could afford to take the hit. Barely. E50M couldn't. You're still just the 1 kill ahead. And the hit point totals are more or less even. Both teams have about 6,600 hit points between their surviving tanks. Although remember, that total isn't guaranteed to be accurate. I mean, your team's total is accurate because you know how many hit points all the remaining tanks on your team have. But the enemy team's total is only updated when you actually see those enemy tanks. So, for example, if they were to respot the IS-4 or the Object 430U, who was over here and has obviously cleared out as well, and those tanks had taken any damage in the interim, upon being spotted, the hit point totals would adjust. And the IS-4 has just been spotted. And upon doing so, the enemy team's hit point total just immediately dropped by more than 2,000. Now, I don't think the IS-4 just got bitch slapped for 2,100 hit points the second he got spotted. Again, it's probably just a case of the enemy team's total being adjusted once enemy tanks get spotted. Although, wow, the T-110E4 has taken a savage beating, and he's down. The 430U has just been respotted, and he's down as well. That just leaves 3 enemies. The convoy. And it looks like he's got an S-tank hunting him up there in the north-eastern end of the map. And in a convoy versus S-tank fight, my money's on the S-tank. So we'll not worry about that for now. But there's the IS-4. 600 hit points. Somebody else is going to have to hit him first in order for Dave to get this kill. Oh, hello, 121B. Good job. Thanks for taking the hit. And there's the Top Gun. Dave immediately drives into the building, even though there's nothing left in here to kill. But the stuff outside to kill, which is why he drove into the building, because he didn't want that to happen to him. Not really the 121's fault. The hit from the IS-4 blew his tracks off. He had to sit there waiting for the repair kit to come back up. But it did cost him. That just leaves the M53 and the convoy. And it looks like Dave is making the very reasonable assumption that the M53, as he switches to his high explosive ammo, is up here in the northwestern end of the map, because they've already scoured the northeastern end of the map. There was no M53 up there. The convoy has just gotten respotted by the S-tank, so he's probably doomed. Enemy artillery isn't going to be in the southeast or southwestern end of the map, because that's Dave's team's side of the map, so logically you have to expect him to be up here. 105mm high explosive loaded. Come out, wherever you are. There it is. Boom, headshot. S-Tank finishes off the Conway. There's 7 kills. Just 1 kill short of a Radley Walters medal. Although I don't think there was ever any realistic chance he was going to get a Radley Walters medal in this battle. Because every enemy tank that he came up against, he killed. It's just that he only came up against 7 of the enemy tanks. Well, that's not strictly true. He did score 1 hit on the Object 430U, but that guy did not hang around to take a second serving of 105mm armor piercing. He bugged out and ended up getting killed on the other side of the map. But literally everything else that Dave came across in this particular battle, he ended up killing. He might have had to work the odds a little and let the 1-2-1 whittle down the health of the IS-4, for example, but a kill's a kill. And it's a mark of how well people are doing in the M60 that 5,000 damage and 7 kills is only good enough for a first-class mastery badge in this machine, although it probably shouldn't be too surprising, because remember, the only way to get this tank originally was to finish in the top 30, or if you're on the Russian cluster, the top 50 in the first Clan Wars tournament, and since then it's only been available for 15,000 bonds. So if you do have an M60, you're either pretty good or you've played a lot of World of Tanks. Or both. No reason why it can't be both. In fact, it's very likely to be both. Tier 10 economy in full effect here, of course. I mean, he did fire some gold, but not a lot. Of the 24 shots that he fired, only 7 were high explosive anti-tank. And as a result, even with a premium account, he ended up owing the game nearly 25,000 credits. World of Tanks. If you can't take a joke, you shouldn't be playing. But either way, well done to Dave in the M60. American Tier 10, I suppose you could call it a premium medium tank. Hope you all enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.